What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost, and it's beginning to look like the celebration of Shang Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings as an absolute triumph in the box office may have been a little bit premature from so many of those in the mainstream media, from so many blue check marks on Twitter, from so many shill access media types, and of course, from Simu Liu himself, who felt so confident about it that he decided to go out and talk a little bit of trash, take a few shots at people that said, it doesn't look like Shang-Chi's gonna do very well in the box office. Well, like we talked about, it did exceed expectations that first weekend. And like so many of us said, we really need to pay attention to what happens over the next few days, the next week, to see how this box office is really tracking, if Shang-Chi's actually going to make any money or not. And it's beginning to look like it's not great news for Shang-Chi or for Disney, as the domestic box office has come back to earth and the international box office has absolutely cratered. And it doesn't look like there will be a China release anytime soon. As you can see, Shang-Chi unlikely to get Chinese released after Simu Liu's comments about communist China resurfaces. But the story today is the box office. Let's talk about the box office numbers that we do know. Shang-Chi, strong second weekend with 31 million plus, Malignant dying. 31 million plus is the projected for this next weekend coming up here. Of course, the Friday to Friday, I want to look at those numbers right now because you can see the Friday to Friday numbers. It's a 67% drop off for Shang-Chi. Now that is by no means a great number, but when you do go back and you look at Black Widow, we can see those day to day. They actually dropped off 80% on that Friday. So not as much of a drop off as Black Widow, but of course Shang-Chi also made less money throughout the week than Black Widow did throughout the week. These are really the movies that I think we have to compare because everyone wants to say, you can't, it's in a pandemic. You can't compare anything to what's going on right now. And of course, we blew all these arguments out of the water with the record-breaking sales for both indoor and outdoor events right now. But regardless, you do really have to compare Black Widow and Shang-Chi. Remember what Black Widow did. Black Widow in total, $182 million domestically. Look at those international numbers, 187. So it made effectively the same amount overseas that it did domestically. And that 370 number that it's at, that's around what Shang-Chi needs to do to make money, to break even. 350 to 375, right around that area. That's what Shang-Chi needs to do when you factor in the budget, when you factor in the marketing, when you factor in the box office cuts. What is Shang-Chi doing right now? Look at that. Domestic, 109, still a long way to go to get to that Black Widow number. International, $56 million. It is cratering internationally. No one is watching this movie overseas. That is not a recipe for success. That is a recipe to lose money. That is a recipe for a flop. But everybody told us that can't be true. Simu Liu himself decided to talk a little shit about anyone who had said anything on YouTube, who had used the projections that the entire mainstream media was using and said, looks like this movie is gonna flop. He decided to laugh. He decided to do a victory lap early. You know, I would say, Simu Liu, caution. I would say instead of showing everyone that we are living rent-free in your head, instead of going around and bragging, maybe you should have kept your fucking mouth shut because now you're going to look like an idiot when this movie does in fact stall out, when this movie does in fact lose money. It has a long way to go. Now, can it go and break even? Yeah, it could if it keeps on going. What we see the rest of this weekend is going to be very interesting. Like I said, 67% drop off from Friday to Friday. I think we're going to see it level out maybe around a 55 to 60% drop off in second weekend when it's all said and done. Because you can't use that Labor Day number like they wanted to use. They wanted to use that Labor Day number to pad what it would be for opening weekend. Well, it's going to compare these 3 days to Friday, Saturday, and Sunday like it should. When it's all said and done, what will it do? We'll see. We'll see what happens on Saturday and Sunday, but certainly between those bad box office numbers, between what he said to piss off the Chinese audience, that international number, that is a massive, massive problem for Shang-Chi. And it's funny because this is a guy who has come out and virtue signaled. This is a guy who's been incredibly woke. So woke that he's turned off a lot of the American audience. Yet evidently he's too based for China. Because look at what he said in 2017. Comments about communist China resurface. Marvel's unlikely to get a Chinese box office release for their latest release, Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings, after the film's lead actor saw his comments about communist China resurface. Deadline's Nancy Tartaglione, I don't know how to pronounce that name, Tartaglione, reports the prospects for Disney Marvel's Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Rings getting a China release are dwindling. The reason being is Simu Liu's comments about China in an interview he did with Canadian Broadcasting Company back in 2017. There he is, Shang-Chi himself, the triumphant Shang-Chi, except maybe in the box office. As Taiwan News reports, the Weibo account of Chinese nationalist organization DIBA posted screenshots from a CBC interview of the actor from its series What's Your Story? The screenshots show Liu describing the China his parents lived in as the third world. He also noted the country had people dying of starvation. Interestingly enough, the original interview has been removed from the website. Very strange. Maybe they got too much pushback. Maybe the CBC got a little too much pushback for that. But that is the reason that China does not want to allow this to be played. And it won't allow it to be played. It probably won't allow Eternals to be played in China either. And all of that is adding up to a big, big problem. This movie somehow still has to make like $200 million more before it makes a dime. And if you don't think that that's headed for being a flop from where we stand right now, I don't know what to tell you. There was a lot of people that were saying, take the L, dude. Take some copium. This is a smash hit. Well, I regret to inform you that that's not necessarily the case. That this movie, although it had a bigger opening weekend than it was projected, and we'll have to see how the rest of this second weekend goes, it's not tracking very well, guys. It just simply isn't. It's not tracking well. It's not tracking to make any money. And that means that it's a fucking flop. Or at least looks to be at this point. What do you guys think about all this, though? Let me know in the comments below. I'm sure a lot of you are going to be a little bit angry, and that's okay. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching, everyone. And a huge shout out to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Want to follow me on Twitter or Instagram? Check out the description below. You'll find links to my P.O. box and my Patreon as well. And I'll talk to you guys later.